Unit 5, Lesson 3, the role of the recorder. This lesson will look at the role of the recorder in problem-based learning and the tasks of the recorder. It will also look at how the facilitator can support the recorder. The recorder is also known as a scribe. They are responsible for recording the tutorial memo. They build analytical and communication skills. At the meeting, the team should decide the date the memo should be posted by. This should be early enough to allow team members time to review the memo prior to the next meeting. The tutorial memo should reflect the contents of the discussion, be structured logically according to the contents of the discussion, include a simple list of the main keywords at the end of the closing discussion. They should not add content from outside the discussion unless specifically agreed in the discussion. For example, if the team did not have time to elaborate on something that was briefly mentioned, they may decide that the recorder add this information as an appendix to the memo. The recorder can ask for clarification. In the opening stage, the tutorial memo should include the discussion. This is a description of how the team approached the topic identified in the trigger. It should include the problem, the title of the problem in the form of a question, statement, or concept. The categorization of brainstorming. This outlines the concepts the team spoke about in the brainstorming session under the classified headings. Illustrations can be used here. Learning objectives. The agreed objectives are the tasks on the basis of the chosen approaches to address the problem. How these learning objectives were allocated to team members should also be detailed. It should also include observer feedback. This is the personal feedback the observer gave to each team member. And it should include keywords. This is the main topics covered in the problem-based learning meeting. Interim meetings memos should include a discussion of the results of the tutorial memo from the previous meeting, discussion of concepts, any of those not discussed in the opening meeting, the observer feedback, in other words, the personal feedback the observer gave to each member, and keywords of the main topics covered in the problem-based meeting. The closing stage then. This should include a discussion summary of tutorial memo from previous meetings, the learning objectives, the identification of the learning objectives in the previous session and how they were achieved, the discussion, well-structured discussion of the learning results, including theory and application. It should list the self-study sources used by participants and include an evaluation of the tasks and the learning results. Was it effective? Why not? What could have been done differently? And the observer feedback based on group dynamics. Keywords should also be included, and these are selected based on the main topics discussed in the session. You can support the recorder by informing them of the contents of the memo for the various meetings, which is given in the above list. You can encourage the recorder to look at examples of tutorial memos. You can brief the recorder on the importance of being prepared. This means having the correct material, reading the agenda prior to the meeting, knowing who everyone is in the meeting so the recorder can refer to them correctly in the memo. Brief the recorder on the importance of listening and not recording verbiage, but summarising the most important parts of the meeting. Encourage them to differentiate between facts and opinions and only record the facts. Brief the recorder of the importance of summarising notes at the end of the meeting to ensure that they have the correct information. In the next lesson in this Unit 5 is Lesson 4, and it will examine the role of the observer.